Okay, just checking you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so this is for the unit BSBWRT311 Write Simple Documents. So this is
Mhm.
Assessment Instrument 1 RPL interview questions. Just referring RPL means recognized prior learning.
Yep.
So in this assessment unit, just ensuring that you're aware of the not yet competent and complaints appeals process,
Yep.
been through before. So this assessment task shouldn't take any longer than 30 minutes to complete. So it's just similar to the one we did previously. There will be a few questions that I'll ask you.
Yep.
We'll do them together and I'll write them. I'll drop down your answers next to the questions.
Yep.
Um, just for reference, all these assessment units, not just this one, is I'll mark you as satisfactory and not satisfactory.
Mhm.
These go for all the assessment instruments and all the units that I've marked you on. Your overall unit will mark as competent or not yet competent.
Yep.
Do you have any questions for that?
Nope.
If you do need me at any time to rephrase the questions or we can come back to it, that's absolutely fine.
Are
And you
you
have,
able to, sorry, zoom the questions in? Sorry.
yeah,
I just don't have my glasses on me.
is that
Thank
okay?
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Thank you.
All right. So tell me about the type of documents you create in your job. What are they and who are they for?
So, as a educational leader, I help create the templates for the monthly curriculums, observations, school readiness program, and little learner prep program as well. Well, they actually curriculum, sorry, not programs.
That curriculum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just quickly fix my mistake.
And they are for documenting the children's development and document the children's interests and their needs.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so for one of your documents, tell me how you determined your audience purpose and requirements for the document according to organization
So
policies and procedures.
yeah, I'd probably say the school readiness curriculum. When planning that, we aim to follow the services philosophy, um, policies and procedures to ensure that the children's safety at first, um, children's safety first, but we also use the UN children's rights to ensure that the children are able to have a voice.
Did you say it's the UN?
Yeah, UN children's rights of a child, sorry, rights of a child. UN rights of the child, yeah, that's what it's called, sorry. Rights of a child. So they're able to have a voice on what they would like to learn during the program. And also the audience is also the families. So then families are able to express um what they would like their child to learn in preparation for the school. Sorry, that's a lot.
For child to, I'm stuck. Would also like their
Um,
child
it
to,
also can voice what they would like their child to learn to in preparation for school.
yeah, haven't missed anything or everything is there.
Um,
For one of your documents, tell me how you determines the required format, style, and structure for the document.
So we for the curriculum, oh no, so for the observations, we use the cycle of planning to like to assess the process of learning. So how we proceed with how we do the observation, how it follows through, and how it is a full cycle of learning.
Yep. So for one of your documents, tell me how you established the correct method of communication.
Um, it was through discussing like communication. We had um evaluations at the end of the month. We ensured that families were tagged so they were able to make comments on the programs. and we'd keep families up to date. So we'd even like discuss to families, asking families to add suggestions and stuff like that to our curriculum. We also provide a weekend post as well for families to share ideas from the weekend.
Share their, how do I say lives? What did you say? Share their.
Share their life and interests from the weekend.
Yep. So for one of your documents, tell me how you established key points to be included in the document.
Key points are added. Oh, sorry. Um, so key points are added.
Yep.
Um, by sorry, I just have a mind blank. So key points are added into documentation with a very of different. Sorry,
That's fine. So for example, like you guys would do meetings with your room. So maybe you would have like a book that you might
Oh, yep.
document down. I would
Yeah.
say something like that. Yeah.
Sorry, I just had a mental blank. So like we'd have like monthly, um, like fortnightly meeting books. We'd also have daily reflections. We did do
So
weekly
is that,
reflections.
sorry, would you be adding those key points into those books for those meetings?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Risk assessments and monthly curriculums. Yes, so no, we were doing weekly reflections and now we're doing daily reflections
yeah,
because that just makes everyone more accountable for them.
fair enough. So for one of your documents, tell me how you developed the draft document to communicate key points.
So
So this
we
is sort of similar to the question before. So when you're obviously drafting a document, sometimes, I'm not sure about you, but sometimes you would, write things down before actually having that
yeah,
discussion. So that way, when you get into the discussion, you're focused on what you need to discuss with your
yeah.
team. So,
We find like when I've done it as an educational leader,
yeah,
because we recently just did this with the staff, um, the room meeting books.
yeah,
Uh, So what has happened is we sat down with all the lead educators and discussed what worked last year, what didn't work last year, and how we could improve it. Which I wrote down their suggestions on the actual old one on how we can change it.
yeah.
And then once we've changed it, we've gone back around and asked staff how they thought and what else could improve on it, and they were pretty much happy with it. So
Yeah, so pretty much you like were getting,
Leonese.
yeah, and getting everyone's ideas
Yeah,
and input. That way you can, when creating the next document, you were
yeah,
able to use everyone's input. Yeah,
yeah.
that's good. So how did you ensure your drafts met the purpose and requirements for the document?
Well, I ensured with my drafts by um sorry, can you just rephrase that? Like,
Yeah,
do you
so
mean like
how did you ensure your draft met the purpose and requirements for the document? So it's more talking about a document that has, I would say, already been created. So for instance, the curriculum you said you guys do each month, there would obviously
yeah,
be a requirement that you guys have to meet before actually planning and implementing the curriculum. And
yes.
how would you make sure that's
So through that we do that by we calendar events
so we do this by so
using the calendar events each month through observations of like the children's interests, discussion as a team, and family input, which could be like from family, like discussions from families or even provided from the weekend post.
Yeah. So are you saying that you use these and gather them all together when creating
Yes.
that curriculum? Yeah.
Yes.
Spelling is terrible today.
Don't worry, I do the same thing. At least if you understand it, that's all that matters.
So did you have to obtain and include any additional required informations in your draft? If so, what was it and why?
We ensured that we use the EYLF, the learning outcomes, as they're essential for us as educators to ensure that we are following those outcomes for children to achieve. We also used with the meeting notes and the reflections, we use the national quality standards. To utilize those tools. So with our critical reflection, we use the quality area that focuses on reflections.
Yeah.
Just to help us have more of an insight on the correct way of how to critically reflect children's learning.
Almost done.
Oh, good. Not many.
In your workplace, are there any documents that you must have a supervisor or colleague, for example, proofread?
We encourage all our documents to be proofread. It doesn't matter your qualifications or anything like that, because sometimes it could be a simple word mistake. So we are more all accountable within all the rooms, and we read over everyone's work.
All right, so what changes did you make to one of your documents? If discuss how you ensured those changes were correctly made.
So I would say with the meeting notes, we ended up providing more of a discussion points for educators during meetings. We found that providing them with a small box, they weren't having enough time to discuss the main points and what they wanted and what they were feeling. Where now we've provided a whole A4 page on them able to just have a better discussion on what's happening within the rooms.
Yep, so it's sort of like they were able to elaborate a bit more on what they
Yes.
on their key points, their topics of discussion.
Yeah.
Yep. So how did you check your documents for spelling, grammar, and punctuation issues?
I would use the review, but I also use Grammarly, which just helps with extra like grammar mistakes and stuff like that. The ones that you miss, like
Do you
this.
also get someone to proofread that before you publish, or is it just
Yes.
complete that you use?
No, I'll get someone to proofread it as well.
Okay, so what is your process for ensuring document is readable and that the sentences, paragraph sequencing, and structure of the document are correct?
So I would say that um processing. So how it's readable and stuff like that. We basically work as a team. If say I finish my part in the day book, the next person that's completing their part of the day book, they'll have a quick read over it.
So to ensure all educators are reading the documents.
Yeah. And then once everyone's done within the room, I will reread through everyone's part for the day book as well.
Yeah, so it just pretty much goes down again to like make sure we're proofreading things and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And it happens like it's sometimes um it's silly mistakes that people forget, you know.
A matter of your qualification.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I make mistakes too, so it happens.
Raw human. What are two examples of your organization's policies and procedures for written documents?
Um, Ensuring that there's no, I know that we have a documentation policy
Yep.
based on use of like language in the like when presenting the daybook and stuff like that. Make sure that it's professional and using
So like use of language,
yeah.
like when creating documents.
Yes,
Yeah.
like professional language at all times where you're not using slang words and everything like that.
Yep. And do you have another one?
Would be confidentiality. So there's some children that don't want to be mentioned in like say the day book or with other
Yeah,
children. So yeah.
that's super fun. Okay, so when would you use general emails in a work setting to communicate something and why?
I use general emails when I'm communicating with the local primary schools, um, and local like fire brigade and police stations to organize time for them to visit at the service. And the primary school is to just discuss children's learning and everything like that. It could also be with speech therapists as well. So,
Yeah. Mm. All right, so still not, there we go. When would you use procedures to communicate something and why?
I would say use like a risk assessment, to discuss the procedures of like, so we have a risk assessment for walking up and down the stairs. So this would be used, staff would be encouraged to read through it and ensure that they're communicating while walking up and down the stairs.
Yeah. Okay, third last.
Yeah.
When would you use business letters and why?
That would be when you're discussing with professionals. So it could also be with as referred to 3.1 question,
Mhm.
um, and also speech therapists and stuff like that. So just anytime you're speaking to another company.
Organization, you would say something like that? Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so when would you use a meeting agenda and why?
Meeting agenda would be used through really when having a discussion with your team, um, discussion with the whole service, and pretty much like that, or when you're trying to communicate either something great, good news, or something that the team needs to work towards.
Maybe like a goal?
Yeah, or goals and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right, so if not covered in the above questions, prompt what are three examples of different format styles and structures of documents? Oh, sorry, for documents.
Risk assessments.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
uh,
you mentioned before observations.
observations. Yeah. Also, can I put reflections or no?
Yep. Maybe we can be like more specific. Do you mean like the monthly reflection, the weekly, or like
I'd probably say the daily reflection.
Yep.
And
So
yes,
I've got 3, so that's okay.
I would say.
All right. So as you can see, I've marked all of these satisfactory. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there.
Yeah, beautiful.
There's no submission required for this assessment. I'm going to give your feedback again electronically when I send this through to you.
Yeah, no
Do you have
worries.
any questions regarding this assessment?
No, I don't.
Okay. So last one, we have our assessment instrument to the RPL product evidence. So
Yeah,
you haven't yet submitted those 3 documents for me to actually complete this assessment.
yeah,
So just down here with the checklist, I obviously can't go through this today until I receive those documents from you. But
yeah,
per the questions that we just answered, you just gave me 3 documents here that you have done. So I'm pretty confident that you'll be able to give me those documents. That way I can
yeah,
mark the unit as competent.
yeah.
Are there
Okay,
any
beautiful.
questions? You feel confident in giving me those documents as soon as you can?
Yes,
Way I can
I
mark
can
this
do that
off.
for you. I can do that for you.
All right. Well, thank you for today and thank you for your help.
Thank you very much.